On tonight's show, we go back to Route 66 and continue our road trip series and end it at the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles as we continue on historic Route 66. Next on America's #1 road trip television show, it's Jann Scott Tonight. Yeah, well, we're on a road trip here headed toward Omaha and Interstate 80. It's our happy road trip.
Yeah, cruising on down the Lincoln Highway before it turned into the Will Rogers Highway. Highway in Missouri, where Jesse came from.
Well, when we go on Route 60, we always carry some protection with us. Hematite here protects you. The Indians use this to make jewelry, and it's supposed to have Native American protection powers. And then our own protection powers here is the old alignment from 1926 from Arizona. This is a rock the Raj found, and we put up here in our altar to the Mother Road. And then this is from the 1946 alignment, has some concrete on it, another piece of the road, the Mother Road, headed toward Omaha, Nebraska. This is our equipment here today. Got the CD Buzzbuster, police scanner right here, the Bose 8-track, it's the Audi A6.
There used to be a main street across the country. That good old road will take you all the way from Clark and Ogden Street up in Chicago to Lincoln and Olympic in LA. Now I was raised up somewhere in the middle. Me and my dad and watch them all roll through town.
Who's gassing the car? Who's gassing the car? Well, we are on our way to Omaha. It's part of the trip, gassing up. The Omaha Marriott is conveniently located off of Interstate 680 in the heart of the Regency Office Park, 8 miles west of downtown. The Miracle Hills and Old Mill office complexes are just 10-minute drive with upscale dining and shopping available across from the Regency Fashion Court. This is for business class travelers. 300 rooms, a restaurant, a spa, an exercise room, a business center. They have about 70 weddings a year here. Plus there's an indoor pool, a hot tub with a whirlpool, a sauna. There's room service all night long. And there's this famous restaurant. They serve heartland specialties, exclusively Omaha steaks. It's the Omaha Chop House. It's in fabulous Omaha, Nebraska, here on Jann Scott Tonight. Our travel series and Great American Road Trip continues. Well, we're traveling through Iowa now, heading toward Illinois on Interstate 80.
And the coke whores and the fancy cars you see out at those east side bars don't come cheap when you want to drive them home. Now I had a friend who was just like you, and he said he was going to get rich too, and he got himself a job with a guy named Code. They gave him a brand new pickup truck with a custom camper and a CB for luck and half a ton of Mexican for his load. No brakes on 66, son, this ain't no joke. It's the only joint you're gonna see.
Back here at Cozy Dog on Route 66. Very famous place. You remember I was in there eating the big hot dog, and we talked with Bob Waldemar. We're going to go back in and visit. It's changed a lot in this neighborhood. Looks like they've remodeled it. They've paved the parking lot. On this edition of the Great American Road Trip on Route 66, here in Springfield at Cozy Dog. Big food coming up. How you doing? Good. I'm from Hot Dog Television.
I don't think, well, I have some things that I brought, but I don't, the purpose of that wasn't for sale.
Watch this biker go crazy.
It was for...
There we go. What are you getting today?
I'm getting a bunch of Cozy Dogs.
Yeah.
And 2 hamburgers, and I'm eating it all by myself.
Well, this is our Route 66 car. It's a 2003 Audi A6. The kind of car preferred on Route 66 because there are a lot of bumps. Now, a lot of people like to drive, I'll say a 55 or 56 Corvette. We, on the other hand, don't like to be broken down on the old mother road. And so we've driven this with comfort, and it's a good road car. It's a sedan for the whole crew and the whole family. This is the Renaissance Springfield Hotel by Marriott in downtown Springfield, Illinois, the host of the 2002 Route 66 convention. And we're here in Springfield all weekend long, attending many different festivals. Now, this truly is a 4-star rated hotel. Located in the heart of downtown Springfield, the Renaissance Hotel is close to everything, right in the center of all the Route 66 happenings here. Legislatures stay here. The state legislature, of course, is located here. In the old Capitol, just a few blocks from here, is the Illinois State Historical Library. Lincoln's home is just a few blocks from here up on 6th Street. The hotel has period decor with antiques from the Lincoln era. It is quite something. With over 300 rooms, it's a full convention center. It's connected to the actual Springfield, Illinois Convention Center. Lindsay's Restaurant, named after Vachel Lindsay, the famous poet and artist from Springfield. The Globe Restaurant, which is named after the Globe Tavern, where Mary and Abraham Lincoln lived. Springfield is the capital of Illinois, and there's also a homestead where Abraham Lincoln lived, an entire block of period homes run by the National Park Service who dress in period clothing from the 19th century. On this edition of Jan Scott Tonight, our Great American Road Trip continues on historic Route 66 from Springfield, Illinois.
I get my kicks on Route 66.
It's Marilyn Monroe. Oh,
Yes,
I love all your movies.
Thank you ever so. Did you see every one of them?
I saw every single one of them. Yeah.
Even Calendar Girl?
I saw Calendar.
Okay, enjoy your stay here at the Renaissance. I know I do. Bye, darling.
Back in the late 50s, my mom was a big fan of the TV series Route 66, where we followed Buzz and Todd across Route 66. So she decided to travel from Chicago to LA on Route 66 in her 56 T-Bird, and I went along for the ride. And today it's a great honor to have with us our hero from the Route 66 TV series, Martin Milner.
We're talking almost 40 years ago, 40 years plus. So you were a youngster then.
I was about 12 years old.
Yeah,
10,
okay.
12, yeah.
Okay.
Drove the whole highway.
Yeah.
And you know, we used to watch that show religiously. I'm sure you hear this all the time. But it was a family thing where I would sit down with my mom and my brother too, and watch what you guys did. I especially like the LSD episode.
That was one of my favorites.
Oh,
too.
is it? Can you talk about that?
Well, nobody knew what LSD was at the time except Sterling Silliphant, our head writer. and the creative genius, one of the two creative geniuses behind the show. And he just called it a substance in the script, a chemical substance. But it was, of course, LSD, but nobody knew that, including me at the time. But it turned out to be, Sterling wrote a lot of things that were very avant-garde and ahead of his time, so that was one of them. Well, you talk about Sterling Silliphant and Howard Rodman, both of whom were giants in the writing business. I think a lot of the people connected with this show were very, very up and coming. For instance, Arthur Hiller directed more episodes of our show than anybody else, and Arthur Hiller has since become the president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So we had a lot of good people. The theme of the show was embodied by the Route 66 mystique, but we were almost never on Route 66. We never shot one place and said we were another. We always were authentic about where we were, and we tried to photograph things. For instance, if we were in St. Louis today, we'd photograph the arch. We would photograph something that would solidify the fact that we were actually in St. Louis.
Do you think it had a great impact on Americans? I mean, do you hear from people where they tell you that this show changed their life in terms of wanderlust?
No, I don't.
Traveling?
And not nearly as much as Adam 12. I hear from a lot of people that Adam 12 changed their life, the second series that I did, but not Route 66 so much. I hear from a lot of fellows your age that they tried it with a buddy. They got in a car with a buddy and tried to go across the country, and it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of feedback I get.
Can't do this without asking you about the Corvettes. They were fast? Did you guys ever drive them really, really fast?
Yes, sure. Sometimes we had to for the story.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They were old fuel-injected Corvettes with 327.
They were new fuel-injected Corvettes,
right, at the time.
327 engines. I don't think we had any of the 450 engines.
No,
or the 425, I guess they were.
Yeah, or the 350s. So you actually drove them fast. That had to be a lot of fun, having those things. I mean, back in 1959, 58, having a brand new Corvette, having a job in a TV series.
It was fun.
It must have been a kick.
Sure.
Well, next we go in and talk with Bill Shea. This gas station has been in the family for since 1947. The entire family works here. They don't pump gas anymore here at Shea's gas station. They sell camper tops, but they also have an exquisite gas station museum right here on Route 66 in Springfield, Illinois. On this edition of You Got It, Great American Road Trip, Jan Scott Tonight's Route 66. This, of course, is Shea's gas station. It's a museum piece now. Look at this. They used to heat it with an old wood stove. And here's an old air compressor. I bet it still works. Looks like it does. Here's an old ice box. You see, here's the ice up on top. And all the items in there before refrigerator. How old are you? Can I ask you?
81 in December.
81. Oh man, you don't look 81. He doesn't look much older than I do, does he? You got two of us together?
As a matter of fact, you look older.
I do look older than you do.
Either that or you've been handled rough. I don't know.
Well, I've been handled awful rough. Yeah, this is quite the place. You still pump gas here?
Oh no, I quit selling gas 20 years ago.
Is that right?
Well, actually, I started in 1946.
Mm-hmm. Were you born here and everything?
Born here.
Whoa.
My wife was. My kids were. My grandkids and my great-grandkids.
Now, what do you do here now at Shea's?
Sell pickup tops.
Pickup tops. What was Route 66 like back in the 40s? Here through Springfield?
Well, it wasn't all that busy here because there wasn't that many people had cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You could stand out there and you wouldn't see a car go by in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now it takes 10 minutes to get across the street.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You got any memorable stories of people breaking down or coming through here on 66?
Well, you know, then, hell, about every other one was broke down. You know, the tires weren't good, the cars weren't. People traveled with everything in their car. You know. There weren't no U-Haul trailers.
Yeah.
No ice chests. You know, all the stuff you would carry with you if you were traveling was in the car or on top of it. But those were hard days, you know. But you would wonder why a person would ever settled in a small town, but the reason for it was your cars broke down, they didn't have any money to go any further, so they stayed there till they just abandoned the cars. Of course, most of them wasn't worth taking a trip in anyway, you know.
Do you ever see any Hudson Hornets come through here?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So this is a museum then, huh?
We'll tell you the whole place, but
Yeah,
nothing single.
So did you ever operate this as a gas station?
No. It hasn't been a gas station since probably in the early 40s. This is my old gas station.
That's your old gas station right there?
It's in this same block on the next corner.
Mm-hmm.
This is a model of it.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Well, I thought I'd come in and ask for Mr. Lincoln, but these are his law offices, right? Are they? It's closed. Abe Lincoln evidently isn't in. Of course he's not in. He wouldn't be in because he's long gone. But these are the original law offices for Abraham Lincoln here in Springfield, Illinois. It's amazing, isn't it? This is Wild Bill Gepke's Road Hog. He drove this all over Chicago. It's the largest, ugliest motorcycle in the world. He made it himself without blueprints. He actually commuted on this thing. Unbelievable.
There's a highway that rolls clear to the coast from Chicago town down to Los Angeles. Well, it's called a
57 Chevy.
I've traveled that road from Chicago town down to Los Angeles. The 66 highway, the Will Rogers Road, it's lined with jalopies as far as you can see. With a mighty hot motor and a heavy old load from Chicago town down to Los Angeles. Yeah, there's 10,000 people you see every day, camped under the bridges and under the trees, with rattle-trap cars that are falling apart from Joplin, Missouri to Los Angeles.
Well, this is a 1953 Hudson Wasp, purple, lowered, completely decked out. Beautiful car. They don't make Hudson Wasps anymore, and I don't think they ever made purple ones. I used to own one of these cars. This is a 72 Ford Pinto. This is the bomb. Yeah, you hit this car in the back and it blows up. The last time we talked with Michael Wallace was in Oklahoma, and today we're in Springfield, Illinois at the Big To-Do. We get to visit with him again, the biggest event, Route 66ers and roadies in the history of the Renaissance.
One of the biggest events we've seen in a long time, and we're just blown away. We meaning all the good road warriors who have come here from all up and down Route 66 and, as you know, from literally all over the globe.
Now we're standing on the corner. This is 6th Street and where the heck are we?
We're 6th and Adams.
6th and Adams, which is Route 66.
Yeah, with this little business route right through town. We're right in the heart of Springfield. I'm looking at Abraham Lincoln's law offices. Over to our other side is the old State House, where Lincoln gave his House Divided speech, and his body lay in state in 1865 for 3 days before they entombed him. I mean, we're right in the heart of the city, this great marketplace, Springfield, Illinois, for Route 66.
1930s, 1928, this was Route 66 headed west.
Headed west, and actually, well, the route in Illinois technically is north-south, and then you turn at St. Louis. it's the only state where the route goes north and south. But yeah, busy road. I have so many good memories in my 56 years out on the road of this town, principally coming up from St. Louis, my hometown, to see all the Lincoln sites and have a cozy dog, and then perhaps go up to Chicago on Old 66 to see relatives.
7 years ago, when we talked to you up in Oklahoma, you were about to give a talk in a church, and those of you who've seen it, it's on tape. You were shaking your head going, well, there's this renaissance that's just developing, and in 5 years, it's even more so, isn't it?
Oh, you know, people used to say, folks like yourself, are you surprised by all this? And I said, no, I'm not really, because I knew there were other people like me who knew that 85% of the road was there. Now I am surprised, because my hand's right on the pulse of this road, and I've watched it grow.
What was Springfield like in the 1930s when Route 66 was the hub of, four-wheel transportation? It was the main route.
Well, all through the first couple decades or 3 decades or so of 66 life, from 1926 on, certainly even well beyond the war years into the heyday years of the 50s and 60s, this was a vibrant place, and as it still is in many ways, because this is the seat of state government. It's the largest city in the region, certainly between St. Louis and Chicago, so it was sort of a no-brainer. This town was always going to be here, whether the highway was here or not, but it was a busy place because of Route 66 as well. You know, especially when you have business routes going through town and not bypass, not just going by on 55. So people would come in here going in both directions to spend the night, and while they're here, maybe they'll go see Lincoln's home or grave, to have a cozy dog, or have a Coney Island, or have a meal, or buy some postcards, some trinkets, some souvenirs. Busy place.
66 abruptly shut down when Interstate 55 was put in. When was that, and what happened to this town when that happened?
Well, the whole demise, or the alleged demise of Route 66, started in the mid-50s. And it started here in the mid-50s too, with the Interstate Highway Act with the federal government. But it took many, many years to do that. It was piecemeal. The construction of these 5 interstate highways from Chicago to Santa Monica, and in the case of Illinois, 55 going downstate. But it took a good while to do that. 10, 15, in some cases 20 years to bypass a town, to get a new section built and so forth. And in fact, in the whole length of 66, it was in the mid-80s. It was about 1984 when the last town on Route 66 was bypassed on Williams, Arizona. In the late 70s, I can remember them finally taking down the signs in Illinois up in the Loop in Chicago in the end of 66.
Traffic must have been crazy here before the interstates came in.
Traffic was always crazy on Route 66, and that led to this Interstate Highway Act, because the collective we had this great love affair with the internal combustion engine, and then by the 50s we all had these big gas-guzzling Detroit sleds.
Yeah.
So 66...
We got them back. We got SUVs.
That's right. Now we got SUVs. So 66 couldn't handle all that traffic, so they had to create these new highways to take the place of 66.
What do you drive?
I drive my favorite vehicle that I drive. I've got a Ford, and I've had everything from Mercedes to Thunderbird. Yeah. But my primo vehicle today is a classic Harley-Davidson bike that looks just like my book. It's turquoise with big yellow shields on it. That's the color. If you see these colors and that shield, you're looking at my motorcycle.
Route 66, the Mother Road. This is a Pulitzer Prize nominated book.
And this is the 75th anniversary edition, which came out in the summer of 2001 to commemorate the anniversary of the highway.
What is the book about? Can you just tell us? It's one that we use on the road, but
It's specifically what I do in this book in the opening chapter is give you an overview of 66, what the road's about, what happened, the history, so forth, and then I just cruise you out, north, south, east, west. We start in Chicago, and there's a chapter on each of the 8 Route 66 states, including Kansas, with its short little span, and take you all the way out. And then in the new edition, we've added some other material up front, and a new section in the back talking about this renaissance and what's happened in the last 10, 12 years since the road has come back to life.
How did you finance all of that when you were writing this? Did you just eat a lot of ham sandwiches?
Well, when I literally signed to do this book, of course, I had a publisher. But what I did in this book is draw upon, I pulled in a lot of chits that were owed me, intellectually, spiritually, because of my whole psyche, my whole being was spent on this road. I've lived in 7 of these 8 states. The only one I haven't lived in is Kansas. This is the road I learned to drive on. This is the road I did my courting on. I hitchhiked as a Marine. I worked on it as a young reporter. So it was just part of me, and that's why I wrote the book. I was so tired of people talking about the road in the past tense. So this is a love letter to the highway and the people of the road.
You were a young Marine in what years?
In the 60s. I was out on this road in 1964, 65, 66. Hitchhiking back and forth from Camp Pendleton, California. When I'd get to San Bernardino, I'd look down at the road and say, wow, that's my road. It's
you were a Vietnam era Marine. Were you in Vietnam?
No, I was not. I got out just before my outfit went to Nam.
And our Marines now are in fact, one of our directors on the TV show, Gabe Lee, is in Afghanistan at this very moment, just shipped out with the Marines.
Well, the road has always had a great military tie, of course, in World War II, where troops trained along the road.
Oh, my God. Well, Michael Wallace, listen, thanks so much. Our old
always
friend,
a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see you out there. We'll bump into you one day. Hopefully not literally, because it can be a dangerous one.
Maybe in another state.
Yeah, in another state. All right, that's it here from Route 66 in Springfield with Michael Wallace on our Route 66 TV series. It continues. This is the old state capitol, built in 1839. It was held the legislature and the Senate here in Springfield, right on Route 66, incidentally, and they lit it by candles and heated it with firewood. And of course, Abraham Lincoln served here.
American Road Magazine is a 4-color publication. It's going to come out in the spring of 2003. It's a magazine celebrating all of our 2-lane highways of yesteryear, including Route 66. This magazine is going to give travel tips to readers. It's going to give them directions.
Yeah.
It's going to give them places to go, the people to see.
Why your interest in 66? What's the deal?
I'm kind of into nostalgia to start with, and my husband was really interested in it and wanted to take the trip a couple of years ago before everything disappeared, and missed a few things along the way and didn't want to miss any more, so we went and kind of got hooked.
Oh my God.
All you have to do is try a little bit harder.
Look at you. You are decked out today too. You have everything on. Yeah.
All my pins from where
Where are you from now? You're from Aurora, Illinois.
Actually, I'm from Romeoville, which is just north of Joliet.
We've been there. This is Shelley Graham, and she is, of course, with the she's with the Kansas Highway Patrol. She's with the Albuquerque Police Department, and she's also with the El Reno Police Department.
Always.
What the
I have
hell?
no idea, but I started collecting police patches, and now people found out. Now I have a whole drawer full, so next time you see me, this whole thing's going to be covered.
Cops must love you. Court Motel. It's about the book about the Hot Sheet Motel in St. Louis.
It's St. Louis County, right.
Yeah.
It's in the village of Marlboro, or was in the village.
It is a motel where more affairs.
Well, certainly it had that reputation, but I like to remind people that there were a lot of G-rated stories there too.
Get your kicks
on Route
66.
Get your kicks on Route 66. Da-da-da-da-da. Thank you. Woo! Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3.